Hey everyone, Kelly Dean Allen here. Today we're going to have a look at how to play Feels Like a Number, one of the more rocking and guitar-driven tracks from Bob Seger's 1978 album Stranger in Town. An album that I absolutely adored as a 14, 15-year-old teenager back in the late 70s. And upon recently listening to a podcast about this album's creation, I zeroed in on Feels Like a Number as a good choice for a tutorial, as like I said, it's pretty much guitar-driven from start to finish. Also has a great little solo in it as well. I also looked up on YouTube to see if there were already any tutorials out there for this track, and much to my surprise, there isn't. So I figured that I would rectify that oversight from my fellow YouTube guitar instructors out there and do one. So without further ado, let's close in and learn how to play Feels Like a Number by Bob Seger. Alright then, let's learn how to play this one, Feels Like a Number and Bob Seger. We are in standard tuning for this tutorial, and throughout this track, aside from the main riff, which we're using octaves, right there, we're going to get to that, but we're basically using three chords: an E power chord, an A power chord, and a B power chord, right? And there's two guitars going on at the very beginning of this track. One is just hitting these E power chords every 2 bars, you know, for 6 bars. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then going down to A for 2 bars and repeating. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then into A, right? The more prominent guitar and the main riff is being played with octaves. Right, for 6 bars before going off to A. So these octaves here, 2nd fret of the A string, 4th fret of the G string, muting the D string in between with the pad of your index finger. Going a little down, up, down, right? Then you're going to move it up 2 spots to 4 and 6. Then you're going to move it up 2 more spots to 6 and 8. And then you're going to move it up 1 spot to 7 and 9. And when you get to that 7-9, you're going to strum that 3 or 4 times, right? And you repeat that 3 times. And then off to A, let it ring for 2 bars, and at this point there's a big pick scrape down the neck, and we repeat. And then we drop into the first verse. So we're going to drop into that E power chord, and you're going to kind of alternate pick it, right? With that palm muted kind of rhythm, right? And then we're going to go down to the A power chord, hit it a couple of times, and then back to E, kind of like this. Ba 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 da, ba 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 da, and then the vocals come in. Ba 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 da. So you kind of repeat that 3 times, right? And then you go back to E, and the 4th time you hang in the E before going off to A for the kind of the end of the first couple of lines of the first verse. So kind of like this. Ba 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 da, ba ba, vocals. Ba 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 da. Now hang in E. Now down to A, into B. Play the riff once. 2nd line, 2nd half of the first verse, back to E. Ba 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 da, hang in E. Down to A, into B. Play the riff. And then we're into the pre-chorus. We're going to drop off to A, off to E, back to A, into B, and then we're going to play the riff twice. Second verse, E. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba. Now, the second verse, I don't know why they changed it, but they did. We're not going to hang in that E before going off to A. We're going to repeat that ba, 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 da, right? Kind of like this. Ba, Ba 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 da. You're gonna go back to A. Ba 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 da, and then you're gonna stay in A right before moving into B. So the second verse is a little bit different than the first verse. Ba 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 da. Ba 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 da. Staying in A into B. Play the riff once. Second half of the second verse. Ba 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 da. Go to A. Ba ba. Stay in A. Into B, play the riff. Pre-chorus, A, E, A, into B. And then we're into the chorus, which is the same as the opening. We're going to play the octave riff 3 times, going off to A. Repeat. And then we're into the piano solo. So there's like a 12-bar piano solo just over E, right, for the most part. Kind of like 8 bars in E. Then down to A. Into B, back to E. Right, and at this point the guitar solo comes in. So the guitar solo, great little guitar solo, bluesy little guitar solo that this one has. That's pretty much the solo right there, kind of like E blues scale type work here. We're starting on the 12th fret of the G string. We're just going to grab as many pinch harmonics of this note as we can. Kind of like hit that like 6 or 7 times. And then after you hit that 6 or 7 times, you're going to hit it 3 times quickly, right? And then you're going to grab the 14 of the D, roll it down to the 14 of the G, back to the 14 of the D, and then back to the 12 of the G. Kind of like that, right? Into this lick. Classic little kind of blues lick. With more rolling going on here on the 14s, right? Just bending that 14, rolling down the 12s. Finishing on the 12 of the G. Right? Just rolling back and forth there on the 14s. So from the beginning, then we're going to drop into these little double stops on the 14 of the B and the 15 of the high E, and you're going to hit that like 4 times. And then leading into that, right? Similar to what we played earlier. You can even grab a little double stop here on the 14s. Off to 12, grab the 14 of the D. And then roll on those 14s again, finishing on that 12. Right? Finishing the solo with this. So the rhythm has shifted off to B at this point because all the previous was over E. So we're going to slide into 11 of the D down to 9 of the G. Then we're going to drop onto the 10. This is a bit of an odd note here, but we're going to grab the 10 of the G, little half step bend. Back up to the 11 of the D and then off to the 9 of the G. Kind of like that. And then we finish the solo with this. So 9 of the D, double hit. And then you're going to go 8-7 up to the 10 of the A, double hit, off to 9, off to 7. And when you get off that 7 of the A, you're going to hit it like 3 or 4 times. And that's the solo. So from the beginning, nice and slow. Pinch harmonics. and then we're into the pre-chorus again, off to A, into B, and then into E. A, now into B, and then we're into the final choruses. 3 times. Off to A, and then you just repeat till fade out. Just repeat the chorus a couple of times at the end of this track, and that is how you play Feels Like a Number by Bob Seger. Certainly hope you enjoyed the tutorial, found it helpful, and if you did, please hit that like button right down there somewhere. Maybe drop me a subscribe if you haven't done that already, as that would be very kind and helpful to the growth of my little channel. Hope you're well out there in your little guitar corner of the world, wherever that may find you, and we will see you next time. Cheers.